Were you guys in that training where a student tried to convince Paul that they couldn't change? And he just said, I don't fucking play that shit.
Alrighty guys, welcome back to another episode of Spill the Tea, except we're not in Bali today. We are in Adelaide. We have some amazing people with us and I want to give it over to Kirsty to introduce them. So let's go.
Awesome. So welcome to the incredible duo, Juliet and Paul, world-renowned NLP and hypnotherapy educators and co-authors of the bestseller Evolve Your Mind. We're so excited to have you both here. For those who don't know, me and Bo both got certified in NLP and hypnotherapy with these two incredible humans in front of you. And we're about to take it to the next level and do our advanced hypno, which we cannot wait to do. And also we've got several of our We Breathe Success communities members now doing their courses as well. So we would love to introduce these two beautiful people. Welcome, guys.
Thank you so much for having us. We're excited to be here today. Yeah.
This is fun, and I love how we got the matching outfits agenda as well. We're definitely in rapport.
Yeah. We are. And guys, this wasn't planned. We all showed up this way.
We're all wearing the same outfit.
Love it. So with anyone that's in this type of space, hypnotherapy courses, NLP, breathwork, anything like that, we all have a powerful story of why and how we got here. So I'd love to hear from you both. Like, how did you get into this space and why? What was the reason?
I think like for a lot of people, it was from necessity. In my late teens, early 20s, I suffered from really bad panic attacks, anxiety, and even to the point of, really bad paranoia. And I got to the point where I couldn't even leave my bedroom. I was totally afraid of the world, basically a recluse. And then it got to the point where I had to just do something about it. And I went to the traditional method, going to see doctors and all that. And they wanted to, I make the joke, they wanted to stick tubes up both ends, but they didn't want to find out what was really inside of me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so one day I stumbled into a library and that just opened up a whole series of me finding little droplets of seeds that started getting me to look inside and learn more and become educated. And then I started doing some self-hypnosis, found some, self-development courses and things like that. And then dramatically, I went from a kid that couldn't leave his bedroom to working the biggest gym in South Australia, like really quickly.
Wow.
And then basically just got obsessed with learning. The more I worked on myself, the more I learned, the better my life got. And then pretty quickly, I started teaching other trainers and then have other people sending their clients to me and then wanting to learn from me, and then just kind of snowballed from there. And now I get to teach the kind of tools that help me change my life. And it's super inspiring to see people that have gone through things like I did or even, bigger and completely turn their life around. So it's been pretty fun to go on the journey, especially with my beautiful partner as well.
Oh, well, and I think it's so inspiring because you started so young. Like you've been doing this work now nearly 20 years, and that knowledge that you have has just compounded and built into now. I see you, and one of your best skills is like taking the most complex concepts and being able to articulate them in a way that just lands and is so simple and easy for people to apply and understand practically. But yeah, my story started about 10 years ago now. I was in a really different situation where I had kind of built my whole life as a woman, ticking all of the societal boxes. I got married, I had a good paying job, I had a nice car, nice house, all of those things, external success. But inside I was not happy or fulfilled. And I had such bad anxiety and I didn't understand it. And the anxiety now, when I look back, is such a gift that I had it because I knew I didn't want to medicate it away. Everything I did to try to heal my own anxiety and understand it led me to a place where in the space of 12 months, I ended my marriage, and then I started my life coaching business. And it was 6 months after I ended my marriage that I actually met this beautiful man next to me. And we had just this moment where our souls really saw each other, and it was like meeting your best friend and realizing why no one or nothing has ever felt right before. And we've literally been inseparable ever since. And now I still pinch myself every day because it's been 10 years now, and I get to share the tools that help me heal myself with my partner in crime. And we get to have this ripple effect where we've now trained hundreds, if not thousands of students worldwide. And it's the tools and the skills that helped us. And that's why we're so passionate about making it accessible, making it easy, making it fun, not making it this big. I think what I found along my journey of self-healing, which continues to this day, we're never done. But what I found was there were so many people in the healing work that had this philosophy or idea that healing has to be traumatic.
Yes.
100%.
And the hypnotherapy training, I studied the hypnotherapy training that you taught like 10 years ago now. And I just remember on day one of that training, I felt at home in my body and my nervous system for the first time in my adult life. And I just thought, it doesn't matter that I haven't been to uni for 4 or 5 years. I can help people with these things. And it was profound. And so I'm so glad that you both have had a similar experience with especially the hypnotherapy. I think the NLP helps your mind and understanding how we recreate things with our thoughts and our speech. But the hypnotherapy really helps bridge that unconscious gap and the misalignment. So it's been a wild ride.
I love that. And do you know what? So on hypnotherapy, so I truly don't believe, and we didn't understand hypnotherapy until we did it. And, you know, I really wanted to do NLP with you guys. And you're like, hey, hypnotherapy is coming up first. Do you want to do it? And I was just like, nah, like not, because I thought hypnotherapy literally was on the stage quacking like a duck. That's what you know. You know, that's the type of hypnotherapy you hear. You don't hear about hypnotherapy like this. And then we did it. And me and Bo, we went in there to be better coaches for our clients. And day 2, we're in fetal position. Like, we're like, what is
shit,
going
I didn't think this would come on.
We're like, what's going on now? And I think, Paul, like, you're such a gift to the world and how you deliver this. I think you've made hypnotherapy modern, fun, easy to understand, but just the way that you deliver it, it's mind blowing. It's even hard to even articulate. You know, you took me through a process where, you know, I was so scared of choking, and that was my entire life. You know, I was ruining things with my partner, and I couldn't have dinner with my kids anymore. And this had been going on for many, many years. And as you know, my eldest kid's 19, and that's when it really started. And then I had Harvey at 3, and it was so bad that I couldn't have dinner with my kids. And then I did that insane hypnotherapy session with you live, and now I can eat with my kids. And it's
you're even more chill around, like, she hates being on the scooter in Bali. And after hypnotherapy, she was more chill in the back. Usually she would tighten up or be like, watch out and slow down. And and then after the hypnotherapy session, she was like relaxed and felt free. And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy, right? So
it's huge ripple,
a few things I'm going to share today is some things that I've learned from you. And I won't steal your quotes, but one thing for people listening who don't really understand hypnotherapy, you're working with the unconscious mind, which 90 to 99%, really 100% of your mind is unconsciously programmed, especially through the years from 1 to 7, right? And I like to say, well, you're hypnotized by your parents, by your schooling, by media, by constant influences from child till now. It's almost like unhypnotizing yourself, which is what you said. And I find that's the best way to explain hypnotherapy, because we're being hypnotized every day, you know, and a lot of people who come to us, obviously they've got issues, right? They've got anxiety, they're no self-worth, no confidence. So if they're hypnotized to think they have this anxiety and think they have depression, and then they go on a tangent on ruminating on their problems and Googling them and going to doctors who then confirm and cement, yes, you have this disorder and you have this problem and you need medication. So then their unconscious mind's more like, yep, and brings more symptoms forward. Yeah. For you, it's like you turn to someone and you go, but then how do you really feel and what happens here? And then you like bring all these thoughts forward that they've never had before. And then it allows them to go, well, we're not hypnotizing, we're unhypnotizing. And I like that term a lot better, because it's so true, because you only know what you know. And what I always say to people when they come to me, they're like, yeah, but I'm not good enough or whatever. They're like certain they're not good enough. They're certain they can't start $1 million business. They're certain that they're never going to find love or whatever the thing is that they want. And I'm like, it's kind of like grabbing a person and going, the sky's not actually blue. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? It's like, the sky's not blue, it's actually red. You've been lied to your whole life. This is a Truman Show, whatever, you know? And it's like, I try and explain to people that's sometimes what's happening with you. You think the sky is blue, but it's not. But the sky can be any fucking color you want. It's just words that have been made up by people and then passed down the human English language. And I'm like, when you actually open yourself up, which is going to take me to my second thing that you taught me, the more you learn, like you guys said, constant work, Julie, as you said before, like, you know, it never stops. The more you learn, the more you don't realize you don't know. And that's another thing I learned from you. The more you learn, and it's like, the more you learn out of a car, you go, whoa, I never knew that. And then you go, holy shit, there's so much to learn now about a diesel car. And now there's so much to learn about electric car. And what else is out there? So the more learning you do, the more it opens you up to go, I actually know nothing about everything.
And that's a really powerful place to be, because sometimes the certainty that clients have in their problems is what reinforces the problem. Because like you said, when they have embraced the uncertainty, the more uncertainty you can embrace, the more you can learn and more you can change. If you're like, this is it, I'm locked in, and your programming is certain, you're not going to look for alternatives. You'll just delete, distort, and generalize it. So you only show yourself how you're not good enough when there's infinite possibilities of how you are. And so, really being able to step into the uncertainty and being cool with that, because if you want to change, you need to step into something new, which therefore goes against what you know.
Yes.
The unknown is the uncertain. And if you're comfortable in that, you learn, you grow. And the more you learn, the more you grow. And the more uncomfortable you are, the easier it is to grow, right?
Yes.
But it's that little shake up. And I think for a lot of people, what they think hypnosis is, like you said, it's a huge misconception, but it's everything that you've been encountered with in your life. Every word, every interaction is getting layered into you, and it becomes your map and model for reality. And for a lot of people, the map and model they were given is for an outdated world, from people weren't taught how to teach you how to learn.
Yes.
And they handed down the map they got from their parents or their grandparents for a world that doesn't exist anymore. And a lot of those rules are outdated. A lot of those rules and ways to keep you safe and survive in those worlds are given to you. And then you try to navigate inside that model and it just doesn't work. And for a lot of people, it becomes a trap. And so really just helping them to step into what's possible for them and undo some of their programming and really choose to design their life versus just run their default programs. So that's one of the big things that we look at.
I just want to add as well, what I've witnessed in the last 10 years in supporting you in teaching, especially your hypnotherapy training, but also now teaching part of it, is it's not just a hypnotherapy training.
No.
There are hypnotherapy trainings out there where you read a piece of paper. What I witnessed last week in the last practitioner training was a radical shift of consciousness of the group of people in that training. It's beyond that, and the skills and the tools that I think it equips the coach with. We were talking about earlier, Bo, like knowing and having that knowing and certainty that your client walks in with their problem and their solution, and knowing that the tools that I think you teach in your hypnotherapy training empower the coach to know that at the deepest level that their client has the solution inside of them. And that's such a healing space for the client and the coach, I think, to step into. So that's magic.
But all of our trainings, even when I learned how to teach a lot of the stuff that I teach, which isn't what I teach now because I've changed it a lot over the years. And I realized I could teach techniques to people and they would get the result based on what was still happening inside them. I'm like, okay, so I can give anyone a technique, but they're still going to reflect and bounce off their client. So what I really need to do as a teacher is to get people's certainty, confidence, belief in themselves and their client to level up. And that's why we kind of built the evolved state, that way of thinking where you can see past a person's presenting problems and see their potential and know and believe in that more than they believe in their problem. Because whenever you interact with any person, is a hypnotic battle going on.
100%.
And it's either a win-win where they walk out with their problem gone and you walk out with the result, or it's a lose-lose where they walk out and they convince you that they can't change. So really just cranking up your belief in the person's ability to change is something that we build as a foundation for everything we teach. And then we layer the techniques on top.
Were you guys in that training where a student tried to convince Paul that they couldn't change? And he just said, I don't fucking play that shit. He's like, let's get in there and let's sort it out. And I think that knowing that you have is
and like you said,
so
it's not
powerful.
common. I literally talked to a lady 2 days ago who had studied a diploma of hypnotherapy elsewhere, and she didn't want to name the company, and I wouldn't do that on this anyway.
That's funny.
But she literally said a lot of things, and she was like, well, I just basically had a client come in. They didn't fit my piece of paper. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's what they get for the high level training that they've done. And like, we literally do not look at a piece of paper the whole course, because your client helps you to build the session as you go.
Right.
And really, she was asking about some of the challenges she was having. I'm like, did your course teach you about your beliefs and how you are projecting onto your client, and your clients will not go where you don't think they can? And she's like, no. I'm like, you did a whole course, they didn't talk about that. I'm like, that is the foundation. Like, perception is projection. Your limitations will show up in your clients, and until you shift it in yourself, they will not let their problem go if you think they can't. And she was like, oh my God, I didn't know that. And then like, I was just like, what are other people teaching out there?
Yeah.
You know, this was a high level certification that cost way more than what we charge.
Yeah.
And they walk away with so much less. And I was like,
this is why when people come to me and they're like, I've done hypnotherapy, I'm like,
have you done pause?
You need to help us come up with another name for it, because it's something else, right?
One thing as well is, I feel like what you guys have nailed, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in, is community and support.
Yeah.
So when I was in that course for that week, I felt like by the end of the week, I was in there with my best friends, and I felt so comfortable. And I still am really good friends with a lot of the people that are in there, including the trainers that you guys have in there as well, the crew. Yeah. And I feel like that's what we are about. We're about creating community and networking, and
we were sad when it was ending. We're like, what do we do with our life now?
And when it ends, it's like you guys do this celebration. You get on Zoom. You put all the hats on through the what are they called?
Filters.
And you have a good time. And like I always say, this sounds fucking cliche and stupid, but you make learning fun.
You do.
And I feel like
easy to understand.
And one module that I always say, like one of my friends, Mick, just did your course, and he absolutely is. He changed. Like he said, when I went into your course, I went in with a bit of ego, like, I'm just going to learn some more and help more people. And then I did so much of my own work. And that's when I fill my own cup up, then I'm shining brightly for the clients. Like you said, if you're not doing all these limiting things on yourself, then you're only going to take your client that far.
Yeah.
But, you know, these people going into these courses, and they're, you know, like when me and Kirsty went in, we're like, this is going to be like educational. We got all these books, and we're in fetal position on breaks. Holy shit. I didn't realize this.
But also,
you know,
this is the best.
And I'm like, holy fuck.
Integrating together, like, oh my God, we've just realized this. And I truly believe every single coach out there has got to do hypnotherapy with you guys, because I thought breathwork was the game changer. We were like, that is the secret weapon no one knows about. And don't get me wrong, it absolutely is for somatic and processing and your breath flows. Adding hypnotherapy and breathwork, you're unstoppable.
But you guys use a lot of breath too. You take a deep breath or whatever. Like it's all
pieces of the puzzle.
And you wait till because you haven't got all the pieces of the puzzle yet. In advanced hypno, we do embodied cognition, we do present moment awareness. And so when you take that stuff and the rest of the brainstem model that I start teaching at the first level, you guys are going to be like, what the fuck? It's a whole, it's a, no, like, but
what should be on the brochure.
What the fuck already at the first level of hypno, because people like, I didn't know that this happens in a human awareness. Like I didn't know how much I was going into trance all the time. I didn't realize that every time I'm having an emotional response, I'm regressing in my nervous system and I'm triggered. I'm not present in the moment. I'm fucking a 2-year-old with some trauma going on in the background. Tab open like this. And people start realizing how much when they talk to their friend's back on the beach telling them about the holiday. They're not here talking to you. They're off somewhere else. And so like people just realize how much the human interaction, how much basic English language is hypnotic. And they go, wow, I didn't realize that it was this powerful. And I don't think I will go as far as saying most hypnotherapy courses out there do not even realize that themselves. 100%. Most hypnotic teachers don't realize the capacity of what's possible with hypnotherapy. And so they stick to a piece of paper. They give the power to the words on the paper, not the client. And they don't realize the magic that can happen in interaction.
But it would be similar for you guys in your industry. You have so many people say, oh, I've been to breathwork and it's not like this. So that's what it is. So I feel like you have evolved it and you've adapted it, and you're helping people as well in your breathwork sessions actually break through the patterns, because I've been to regular breathwork sessions where the same people are working with the same responses, the same patterns year after year after year, and they're not actually evolving. They're not actually clearing.
They're not evolving
things.
and changing.
So
shit
having
diving,
those,
as we like to call it.
So combining the skills allows the shift.
100%. And like we're always like, I always say, we don't do goal setting. And We Breed Success, we don't do goal setting. We do habit changes.
Yes.
We break through patterns.
Setting goals does nothing.
Everyone does a goal 1st of
You
January.
need to change the habits.
All the goals come out and I'm like, okay, and day 5, you're back at the thing because you haven't changed the default settings. You haven't broken through the patterns and the habits. The reason why you do the shit you fucking do.
For years, I'd write a to-do list or a goal list and I would feel good at the moment because I'm like, that's out of my head. Yeah. And then the next week, I'm like, okay. And I'd literally just copy and paste. And
Why
be like,
hasn't
all right,
it
this is
happened?
next. Okay, what's this week's? It's exactly the same as the first week. So copy, paste, and then just do another week of procrastinating. But I think NLP also taught me, like what you were saying, what the therapist or whatever you want to call yourself, when you're working with a client, knowing your own stuff, like we worked out, like when you order a coffee, you go through systems.
Yes.
Every decision you make is a structured system. And then if that system's not working for you, then like the way you do one thing is the way you do everything in your life. The way you make your bed is the way you do business. The way you do business is how you treat yourself, how you treat yourself, how you treat other people. And if those systems are so unconscious and habitual, then that's why like nothing changes. Like you said, you see the same people coming to breathwork, and we get the same people coming year after year after year to our events, and they put their hand up and they're sharing basically the exact same thing they did 2 years ago, but in different language.
I should have kept going.
Yeah, well, the action taking is the main thing, but you've got to change. Well, I believe environment's huge.
Yes.
I think habits are massive, but I think for me, this work, whatever you want to call it, transformational work, no matter what tools you're using, I truly believe you have to work with the mind, you have to work with the body and the nervous system, and then you have to have some sort of strategy, some sort of plan. And that's why we try and work with all three now at Believe in Your Breath to get people really into their ultimate success. But honestly, I think you guys will agree, no one knows enough about the nervous system, because the nervous system is everything.
No one knows enough about themselves.
Yeah.
Well, we go to school and we learn about all these fucking things, but we walk away.
We were talking about like, when's the last time you used a parallelogram?
Yeah.
Like everyone knows, like, like we drew parallelograms and like, when the fuck have I needed a parallelogram? But no one taught me about how powerful my words are. No one taught me about when I have an emotional response, how to regulate myself or how to notice the patterns that are happening in my world and stop blaming everyone else and go, okay, well, why does those people keep showing up like that in my world? And what's that all about?
And unfortunately, that's why so many people have blocks to learning, because their school experience wasn't productive. It wasn't supportive. And then people will come into our courses and bring all of those hangovers from what they experienced at school and project that we're their high school teacher
or their mummy and daddy.
Mum or dad or something. And so one of our pre-frames is, look, we're just two humans trying to help you learn some cool shit to help you change your life. Yeah. And we're not your parents, we're not your school teacher, anything like that. But though making learning fun again, it does sound so cliche, but it's so important because we're always either growing or dying, right?
That's why we say when you come to breathwork, it's not confronting. Oh, I'm scared of what will come out of me. I'm like, I'm more scared of what your life is going to be like if you keep holding on.
Isn't it scarier not to know what's in there?
100%. Yeah. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things we have at our events. So like making healing fun, like you said before, like trauma doesn't have to be scary.
Confidence.
Like you've already had the scary moment. The trauma's already happened.
Constantly.
Now we're going to break it.
And I think this is a big thing as well. Like one thing I hammer in my course is show me your problem.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a downplaying your experience. This is not a downplaying how you feel in the moment. But for a lot of people, we're building this reality out of something that is literally a neurological experience, a physiological experience. And then we build a label on it. We build a whole reality around it, build an identity out of it. But like no one I've ever worked with has been able to show me their actual problem. They'll point at their body. They'll point at their head. They'll walk into the space that I draw on the ground and go, oh, look at this. And I go, well, there's nothing wrong with that. It's what you think and feel about that.
That's exactly
the association you have to it. It's the story you tell yourself. It's the beliefs and all of the things you're making that mean. But it's literally you're sitting in a chair as an adult, you're lying on the floor as an adult, or even if you're younger than that, like it is you playing a movie in your mind that's bringing up the emotions.
Yeah.
You're totally safe right now. It's just you keep replaying the worst part of your movie.
Yeah.
And you haven't zoomed out the context. You haven't seen how that was vital and important in your journey. You haven't seen how that built your character and was vital in your growth. You haven't seen how without that you wouldn't be where you are today. So you haven't taken the learnings and lessons. So your mind and body keep showing it to you because there's something to learn there, but you're making it mean that you're a bad person or you're not good enough or anything like that.
Yes.
And once the people can actually witness it, be present with it, the cave they fear to enter holds the treasures they seek. And with the light of their awareness, I call them shadow monsters, and you wake up in the middle of the night, there's a monster in the room, turn the light on, it disappears. Yeah. When you actually are present and witness your, illusions of a problem, they transform, they disappear. And I love how you called it transformative work, because it's changing the energy and the form of it. You liberate the energy and then you can create new. And so for a lot of people, just actually realizing that the stories they tell themselves, the associations they have are just basically
I was just about to say that word. It's the
Yeah.
associations.
Yeah.
Because what if anxiety is good?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you mean? Anxiety's not good. It's a problem. A doctor told me this, and I'm like, we like to call it victim mindset.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the more you sit in a victim mindset, the more you ruminate on your problems. The more you ruminate on your problems, the more the symptoms.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They dig the hole. Yeah.
That's right.
People want to hold on to that label, and I'm like, you don't have depression. You got depression symptoms, and they're like, what do you fucking mean? And they're so triggered by it because people want to hold that. They want it to make it mean something. I said, what if it didn't mean that?
What if your nervous system was just trying to protect you from things that had happened to you, and it's like when I first ever did breath work, like 9 people in my kitchen, then I did like 16 at a local hall, and I used to go on about the nervous system, and Kirsty used to hate it because I go, when a lion and a gazelle is out, because we're just primal beings, right, with a big extra conscious reptilian brain. And a lion, and then the anxiety, and then the heart rate goes up, and it runs away, and it goes to find safety in the bush. And now it doesn't. It feels anxiety any time it's maybe where the lion may come, and blah blah blah. And it's like it is all just to help you. Yes, we have symptoms, and I tell people you don't have anxiety. What do you mean? It's like they put their labels in a trophy cabinet, and they want to be like, I have this. And I literally had a lady one day tell me like, how dare you say I don't have this, blah, blah. And I'm like, if you want to have it, you can have it. Have it. Put it in a trophy case. I said, but don't you want to not have it? Well, I do have it. And I said, well, the I can'ts and I ams and like you said, the words, and that's why we do a lot of word swaps with people. Self-talk is absolutely everything. If you look in the mirror every day and say, I have anxiety, what happens after fucking 30 days? You look at yourself, your heart rate goes up.
Self-hypnosis 101.
And then it becomes an identity, like I am an anxious person, and then they build, it becomes who they are.
Yep.
But what if you weren't?
Versus what they have. I like to say it's what you do, because you do emotions. You don't have them. It's a mental process. It's a association. It's a trigger. It's something that's you're doing it in your nervous system. And once they realize that, they've been in the same place where something bad happened before, their body is firing the coping mechanism.
Stuck in a loop.
Yeah. Or they're replaying a mental image of something going wrong, or they're showing that thing that they messed up.
Even if it's unconscious.
Yeah. It's they're doing it. And once they realize that, they can undo it, because they're not anxious 24/7. Like there's times of the day where they're not anxious.
Yes.
So
I do want to say,
are they focused on that? Or are they focused on the small percentage of the day where they do it and then blow it out of proportion and make it become an identity? It's definitely something.
Just like when you talk to smokers and they tell you how much of the day they're a non-smoker, and they realize they're actually a non-smoker more than they're a smoker.
Even people that smoke multiple packs a day only smoke a couple of hours a day. Like, so they're actually a non-smoker more than they're a smoker. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
The idea of the identity of the anxiety being in a cabinet, like we do have a society at the moment where people feel so severely insignificant. They're not maybe fulfilling their purpose, not doing what they want to be doing. One of our 6 human needs is the need for significance. And unfortunately, sometimes the only way people can get that is through a diagnosis, I have this. And so the idea of like secondary gain, where the gain of the problem outweighs the pain of it, is so rife with people who are experiencing like situations. And you always, as a coach, kind of have to zoom out and go, well, what is the benefit? What are they benefiting? Well, maybe they've been in a position in their childhood where they were made to feel so small, so insignificant. And the only time they got love was when they were sick.
100%.
So now
that's exactly what we've talked about. Like sometimes people get that attention. You know, when you see a girl put up half naked photos on Instagram, that's where she gets the attention. That's where she associates that attention with love. The same thing with mental health. I know for a fact that I used to get more attention from my parents when I was naughty than when I was good. Yes. So what was I 90% of the time? I wasn't feeling loved. I wasn't feeling like I was getting attention. My parents were drinking. All right, I'll go and smash some shit. I'll go and fucking swear. I'll go and do something. And even though I'm in trouble and it feels wrong, I've got attention, right?
Yes.
But
good or bad, you've got attention.
What I was going to say was, what are the 6 things?
Certainty and uncertainty. So certainty and variety, significance, love, connection, and growth. Growth, contribution.
What did you call those? The
six human needs. Tony Robbins talks about them.
And what you just said then about what you did to get attention. So it's, that's huge. I built another model that you guys will do when you do masters. It's called the Eliseo Robbins models, wank, wank, wank. Because it started with what
hyphenated his name with Tony Robbins.
Yeah, because I watched Tony Robbins and watched what he did, but I don't just watch. I'm like, what is he actually doing here?
Yes,
and
that's
so
exactly
if you've seen I'm Not Your Guru, he asked specific line of questioning, like which parent did you crave the most?
Yes.
And who did you have to be to do that?
Yeah.
Which is cool. But then also it creates shadow, because if you fixate on what you need to be to get attention, you also split off half your personality and you suppress the other half of yourself.
That's right.
So that was like, okay, the shadow elements there, but there's also the be, do, have energy, and then also the other parents and anyone that played the role. So I built a bigger model for what Tony did really well. I was like, well, there's all this other shit we don't know. So I think at the last masters we ran, a couple of students were like, wow, this is literally everything. You ask these couple of questions and you just unpack someone's core identity and core personality of how
and motivations and drivers.
Literally, you build your whole life around trying to get that attention from the parents and suppressing the parts of you that don't get it.
Yes.
And then you create these shadow elements and you attract partners that are literally the shit that you don't want to own in yourself, or friends and family. And they're like, man, this just basically is my life on a piece of paper. And so it's so powerful looking at that and seeing how you, like flowers grow towards the light. And so they want to, see me in my good light, and they'll push all the other stuff, but you're all of that.
Yes.
And so when you can bring it in and own it, it doesn't own you anymore. It's not controlling you. It's not directing you. You can be the villain and you can be the hero. You can be naughty and you can be nice. And you're not letting yourself be, in a little box anymore. And I think for a lot of people, that program is what fucks them up. The religious programming, societal programming, the right, wrong, good or bad, they try to fit this little model, and they have so many double binds in their head where if they do one thing, they're wrong, but if they do the other thing, they're wrong. So they can't win either way.
So they don't do anything.
And for a lot of people, they shut down and they don't know what to do. And so they just give up. And that's not a great place to be.
I think that's really interesting. So I started doing some work recently. Brianna May, she came into our mastermind. She did shadow work. Wow, blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like I looked at Bo, and we're in the mastermind, which is for our Weber success. And I'm looking at Bo and I'm like, I'm actually selfish. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, because everyone says to me, like, you're so unselfish. You do all these things for everyone else and you're a great mom and all these things. And I'm like, I know deep down I'm selfish, but I couldn't own that because the identity of you're not selfish. So I can't be that. So when even if anyone say that, I'm like, I'm not selfish, Bob. And I'm like, the moment I started saying I'm actually selfish and I'm actually lazy sometimes as well.
Yeah.
It was like the chains were like loosening and it was like just coming off me. And I'm like, I'm all of these things and I'm now happy with all of it.
So good to face your shadow.
Yeah, when you own both parts, it's absolutely incredible. And I think that's what, what you were just talking about then. And
you can't be one without the other.
You can't be one without the other. And I never got that until, and I've been in this space for so long and I still that's why I love doing masterminds with other people, doing other courses.
Uncovering your own
alias and your shit. And I think it's so incredible. And Brianna May was absolutely amazing. One thing I would want to ask you on hypno. So, and I'll put this in the show notes for everyone to see as well. You did that demonstration with me with the choking. Can you explain how can I have had that level of fear that controlled my life for that long? And by long, I mean years. And just for context, everybody that's listening, I mean, it's so bad that I literally, as soon as Harvey would start eating, I would go to my room and pray to God he wasn't going to die. I'd be shaking. I'd be like, Bo, please watch him. The fear was so real that he was going to die when he ate, and my body would just respond. And I'd be literally in room praying to God. So how can you, I think it was about 30 minutes, change my whole life in 30 minutes?
Well, I can't. You can, right? So I can just be the door for you to see what you need to see, right? And so change doesn't take long. If you've got the right tools and you've got the right techniques, it can be instant, right? Yep. You getting ready to change, you being in the right scenario, feeling safe, being open. And that's number one. Like if you feel safe, like if you don't feel safe, you're going to just do what you've done that keep you alive and survive. You run the coping mechanism, you run the same strategy. The second you've got someone that can help you to feel safe and you feel open, magic can happen, right? So that's number one. Obviously one thing as well, I was just demoing one technique and we could have used any technique to get you there.
Yeah.
But what we did was kind of unpack and uncover some key associations you had, some different events that it was all linked to.
Yeah.
And then we found out, some of the things that were going on. And then we found basically what you needed to be able to handle those situations, some emotional resources, some different ways of seeing that. And so they basically, if you imagine cut and paste, problem, solution, in your nervous system, we brought them together.
Yeah.
So we started associating the emotions and the resources you need to the situations and times you needed them. So now when you're around your family, your friends, everyone eating, you now feel these new emotions, which are safe, love, connection, instead of the fear, whatever. And so in a reductionistic, simplistic way, where we're changing the associations to the stimuluses, because your body had the stimulus of seeing family members eat and it had a trigger of whatever, and then it created feelings of fear, whatever,
Death.
in the past, right? Yeah. And so then we completely rewire that. Imagine unplugging the old stuff, plugging in new stuff. Now when those things start happening, new emotions, new triggers are happening.
New associations.
More resourceful ones.
Yeah.
And then you now think and feel different when you have the same stimulus. That's actually the definition of learning. You have the same stimulus, but you actually act differently. So your body, mind just unhypnotize yourself and unlearn what you learned and relearn a new way of doing it.
And amazing.
Yeah.
Do you want to attract more money into your life? Then this is for you. Are you ready to fuck off procrastination? Then this is for you. You need more sales in your business? This is for you. Do you want to feel more successful and confident? Then this is for you.
Hey, I'm Bo Drury.
Hey, I'm Kirsty Waddingham.
And welcome to Believe in Your Breath.
Where we breathe success. If you want to work with us further, you'll want to join We Breathe Success. It is designed to take you from where you are now to where you want to be in 12 months or less.
If you're ready to 10x your life and step into the ultimate version of yourself that you know you can be, then this program's for you. Your transformation awaits.
And I still now, if I get a little bit of the angst, I will sing that song.
The lollipop. And we used a bit of humor. And how good a resource is laughter? Like people say one day you'll look back and laugh. I'm like, why don't we just speed it up? Let's make today the day you look back and laugh. And so I'm really big on using humor in my teaching / therapy.
You see on Tony Robbins where he gets the suicidal guy with the red shoes. I'm not your guru that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I watch that every time on a plane.
Yeah.
And he's like, why are you suicidal? And he's like, but he's like crying and stuff. And then Tony Robbins goes through a bit of things and then the guy starts to laugh and he goes, stop fucking laughing. You're supposed to be suicidal. Then he laughs more. And that's sort of the more of the shit we're doing on stage. Like it's like, hey, there you go. It's not that bad, is it? Like let's put a little bit of light and have a new association to your problem. And I just want to say, because before we spoke about how putting your anxiety or your depression or your PTSD or your ADHD or whatever symptoms you have into a label and a word and putting it up and owning it and ruminating on it, the symptoms are real. And for someone like me and you, Paul, we can sit here and go, I'm the same. I fucking couldn't leave my house. I used to wake up in the middle of the night with panic attacks.
Yes.
And my life was perfect at the time. Yeah. Sometimes when your life's not good, at least you can go, well,
that's because of this. Yeah.
And the number one thing that we use at Believe in Your Breath now, every time we open an event, I say, get out your notepad and pen and write down 2 words, get curious. Whenever you got a fucking problem, get curious about it. And they're like, what do you mean? How? And I'm like, all right, you got anxiety? You cannot be curious and anxious at the same time. You cannot be angry and grateful at the same time. Trying to have a new association. All right, I'm anxious. Well, why am I anxious? What have I been eating this week? Who have been hanging around? What pressures do I have? What's coming up? What may have triggered me? Why am I triggered? What's happening here? What's happening there? What can I do to maybe lessen these symptoms? What could I do to increase them? Write down fucking a 24-page book. Just get everything out. Get super clear and curious about what's going on, and then your body will find. But by sitting it and going, I'm this and I'm that and I'm really this and I'm going to be even more this tomorrow, and then next week I've got that job interview, I'm going to be even more. Like you're ruminating on your problem. Then you start Googling your symptoms. And
I think the basis of what you just did there is people just replaying the same thought and thinking they're thinking. Right? So most people are like, I'm anxious. They're not thinking. That's not a new thought. They're just replaying the same tape of the same thing over and again. And they think, I'm actually, but then they find more reinforcing. What you're getting them to do with all of the questions is actually getting them to actually think. And thinking requires searching, looking, expanding. What is this? What is that? How is this? Your brain starts going from the pattern you're running and you're starting to open up the neurology, open up the psychology, open up the physiology. Because now instead of just fixating on the 5 things in their life that are really shit, they're starting to expand out and see 10 other things that they didn't think about, then 20 other things. And now the big problem they had in context of everything is not really as big as they thought. And so just stimulating that thinking, that searching, magic. Because people just don't, they get stuck in the groove,
but they
also only run the same
that
map.
question around
Exactly.
that problem.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why would I want to get curious about my anxiety? And then I explain it and they're like, holy fuck. And then people message me after the event and I do that in the first 5 minutes. We come out on stage, we do an introduction, then I said, let's get curious. If you're going to take away anything from the next 2 hours, spending 2 days, spending 12 hours with us, take away getting fucking curious about whatever.
Everything in life.
You're angry. You're angry. Instead of fucking staying angry and
blaming the world,
blaming whatever made you angry. How about we get fucking curious about where the anger's coming from? Let's go deeper. Let's ask the right questions. And I think hypno is literally someone doing that for you. And as you said, the biggest change for you was self-hypnosis.
Yes.
You started to learn to do your own. And I'm like, that's why I tell people, like, we're not healers. We're not, fuck, people come to us and say, thank you so much for changing my life. And I'm like, thank you for stepping into the space and doing the fucking work.
But we're like, we give you a new set of keys to your new Lamborghini, but you've got to drive that fucking Lamborghini. And you get to choose to go left,
or
right,
you can go back to the Honda Civic.
Or
if
you can
want.
go back to whatever one you want, you know? And so that's what I truly believe, like, you know, in this space, a good leader leads. They want, like, I don't want clients to be coming back and back and back.
No.
I want them
And I want
to get better.
leaders.
And then I want to create leaders because when you do your own healing, as you did, what did you do? You want to get in the space to help other people.
That's
because you know the profound fucking work. And like the same thing with us. Like when I did my first breathwork session, which took me a year, I might add, while he was doing it for a year and everyone else having results around him, it was mind-blowing. Like for the first time in my life,
90% of people in our space.
It was releasing. It was,
do that. They have this big thing and they're like, oh, how the fuck do I do breathwork?
Like,
and I'm like,
I was like, the world needs to know this because I had been in so much internal pain for so many years and I had been doing my self-development journey was started at 19 when I picked up my first book, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hayes, wanting to be a better person and a different person because I was pregnant. And I didn't want my son to go through the long list of shit that I'd had my whole life. And I didn't want him to have my programming and my parents' programming. I wanted to be different. So I picked up that book and I was the only person in my family doing that. No one did this. And so I think that is, that's the game changer. And that's why we're such, you know, great people in this space.
And speaking about people in the space, like obviously we're both couples in business and I think it's a magic. I think we can all agree that it comes with a polarity of fucking hardship and sometimes it's like, fuck, it would be easy if it was just me doing this or, you know, obviously there's some balance, but there's obviously a lot of good. I think we both share a lot of the same similar roles in a power couple and we both bring light where there's dark. And I think one of the main things we say is like a relationship and a partnership isn't 50-50. Sometimes Kirsty's 70 and I'm 30 and she's got to show that extra up. Sometimes I'm low and she's high and whatever. Like it's all about, you know, and I think the best thing for me and Kirsty is like integrating through your program. Like in our breaks, we're like, how do you feel about this? And how's that? And did you like the way they did that? And what confused you? So we're integrating together. So we're like on steroids doing work. Because like we went away and did our breathwork training together. So we come back and there's been a couple of times where Kirsty's going through some hardship. I'm like, I'll run you through a breathwork session. And it's hard to drop your ego and let your partner hold space for you.
100%,
And we can do that now. And I know like a lot of people, like even down to doing social media, like, you know, doing a video, it's like, get out the room. Like, I don't want you to see what I'm about to do. Hey guys. And then it's like, get out. Like, it's embarrassing. Like we literally, like Kirsty's like, I'll hold the camera for you. Like G me up, like make me feel better. Like, you know, you got this, say it like you always do it to Paul as well. And I think that's a magic part as well. But I think holding space for each other. But I think you guys can agree, if you don't grow together, you will grow apart.
Yes.
And I think you guys have been together for 10 years. We've done almost 6 now. Is it 10?
Yeah.
It feels like 10 days.
It also feels like 10 lifetimes.
It does feel like that. But my question here is that like, as a couple, what are the biggest challenges that you've had as not just a couple, but in business? And then what tools and what brings you back to the love, to the business and keeps you on track? So basically biggest challenges that you guys have to like come across that is maybe repetitive or it was one thing 5 years ago. And what gets you through those hard times as a power couple?
Cool. I want to start off by saying thank you so much for sharing that because people don't always know like the dynamic of everything, but couples that grow together, flow together. And you guys said that like when you literally level up together, it creates another thing. And we love studying together. We like have gone on multiple trainings and multiple things where we have done that, but also we're getting better at, going on our own journey and doing things separate, which then when we come back together,
it's important too.
Yeah.
We've had some really fascinating situations where when I've gone, I tend to like go and do my own like spiritual things. I'm going to go to Egypt on my own for a few weeks in the end of the year. And Paul's done like really deep personal development courses where we'll actually feel our own vibration shifting and our consciousness shifting. I remember one day you were at a course in Sydney for a week or two, really deep dive course going into all sorts of stuff. I don't even know what the course was, but everything you were sharing with me was profound. And day by day, I could feel my thought patterns changing. And I messaged him on one of the days and I said, what did you just learn about? And he said, we learned about this polarity. We learned about that. And we learned about this. And I said, I literally just had these ideas drop in and I've never thought this way before. Thank you for going and doing the work, because it's when you're that, we know that we're each other's shadow. Yeah. And I know that, our understanding of each other, anything that frustrates me about him, I know is my stuff, and we own that. And I think that's been a big growth thing for both of us. But also we both had relationships before now where it wasn't this way. And so we both have, relationship and connection as one of our highest values, and we always come back to each other. I want to say, Bo and Kirsty, one of my biggest challenges is, and I've said this to you before, I don't know if you ever went and stayed at like a friend's house when you were at school, had a sleepover or something like that. I said, sometimes I feel like I'm at my friend's house for a sleepover and I've got to go and do my homework because I have to go and work. But I love our work. And sometimes though it does feel like pulling myself away and I just want to have fun and play. And then we also realize that our souls met because we have a purpose in this world and we believe in that vision and we come back to that vision. And so sometimes it's just the little, aspect of me that just wants to go and play and
I think that's definitely one of the biggest challenges. We've been obviously lucky enough and put in a lot of hard work to see our business grow. Yeah,
it's not luck.
Yeah, well,
it's there's
definitely elements of you can't just say it's all whatever. Like there has to be some element of things as well. Some people work harder and don't have the same success, whatever. But seeing how much like we want to spend that time together, and then the business becomes its own beast almost, and it takes so much and demands so much of you that we don't want our relationship to be the afterthought. Yes. And so sometimes when we're in delivery mode, we're in build mode, we're in whatever, like you do have to shift gears, and we're sometimes more business partners than we are couple. Yep. And like we always have the partnership of our relationship first, but sometimes the energy disperse of that does take over. Sure. And, sometimes I feel like we're blessed for the business we have, but also we would, sometimes the balance of how much we just can go walk on a beach versus, be doing the delivery is a thing. And that's a huge challenge. And then, managing the complexities of a growing business, like, we never had a business of the size that ours has got to, and all those kind of things. But I think we're lucky enough that our communication has been fantastic. Yeah. Like I know that one of the biggest challenges for me in my life and why I teach language is because growing up, I never got shown how to communicate. There was years where in my family, people did not in the same house talk to each other for years. Wow. And so I know what it's like to exist in the same world as someone and just, pass them by in the hallway and just pretend it didn't happen kind of thing, right? Disconnection. Yeah, super weird. And so in previous relationships, sometimes there'd be the unsaid thing. There'd be the hard conversation to have. But I'm so blessed that Juliet has helped me to feel safe talking about anything, going anywhere, and just like knowing that is the way to do the relationship, not hide things, not pretend it didn't happen, but bring it to the forefront, talk about it, work through it as a team and do it as a team and share the energy together versus, put it away and pretend it didn't happen kind of thing.
Then you can grow from it too,
it's huge. And I feel like that...
You're ignoring growth otherwise.
Yeah. And I feel like we don't have that many arguments because of that. Yes. Like I feel like...
Because you don't have time to build resentment.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't build resentment if you're constantly going, here's a little something. Yeah. But I think when you said communication there, my thing is what I've learned is like when couples come to me, they're like, yeah, we communicate. And I'm like, communicate is fuck all. Like two people talking to each other is communication. It means nothing if there's not two people understanding each other. Yeah. Yeah. One thing me and Kirsty can do, and I know you guys are really good at it as well, is take each other's shoes off and swap them. And go, all right, you've got this, you got that. Yeah. And then like Kirsty, when she got with me, I ADHD symptoms through the roof, and I have a lot to say on ADHD. That's another podcast. But she went and read books and podcasts and things on ADHD to try and understand me, because for her to come to me and say what she wanted to say, it was a communication.
Yeah.
It was a conversation, but it wasn't going to be a healthy one, because it was all like, you do this and you do that. And she goes, well, maybe I need to understand how his brain works. So she went and did it, and then she come back and goes, I get it. I understand it. But also you need to put measure. I will understand you, but you have to reciprocate and
you got to do the work.
Yeah. And that's the thing. When We Breathe Success, we have a really high rate, and I hate to say this, of people coming in and then breakups happen within months, because a woman comes in or a man and does the work, and they grow, and then their partner's just left behind. And if the partner is trying to pull them back down, like, you used to be cool, like, hey, you know, all you want to do is go breath work and go to the gym and do all these courses, and like, we used to drink or we used to do this, and your friend's circle does the same thing. They try and pull you back down. But the thing is, like, if a lot of times as well, on a positive note, the guy or the girl come in and be like, hey, my partner's done a lot of change with you guys. Like, I want to do it as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how to approach them. Like, what do I do? And I'm like, I love this.
Awesome.
And my favorite thing is when we do events and couples come in together.
Yes. I was just going to say, I'm so stoked that you both did the courses together. And that's why we offer a pretty generous couples discount as well, because we know the value in that exact piece. And I just got like a shiver when you talked about the relationships that do break up, because it was actually a workshop that I went to, and the facilitator said something so powerful that I couldn't unhear it. And I went home from that workshop and I left my marriage.
Wow.
And so you're freeing souls, because for me, when I was 27 and I'd been with my ex-husband since I was 16, I didn't know anything else, right? Yeah. My soul needed to be freed in that moment. And I would have faced soul death if I'd stayed. Yeah. And that's what happens when people choose the fear and the darkness and the same and the comfort zone over, do you know what? My soul wants to live this life and I want to pay this forward. And the people that are being brave enough to say, I want more for my life, the ripple effect that you're having with people, that's massive. And yeah, obviously in an ideal world, all relationships, both couples would evolve together. But what's that Eckhart Tolle saying? You know, relationships aren't designed to make us happy. They're designed to make us conscious.
Yeah.
I love that.
And that's all our commitment is to each other. Like, I remember a lot of people get into relationships and they say, oh, please never change, stay the same. Yeah. And we just look at each other and we go, please change. Keep evolving. Let's keep going. Keep evolving.
We actually said on the way here that a friend of ours was like, you know, my partner never, you know, whenever I'm feeling overweight or this and that, he always is real supportive. But I'm like, Kirsty pushes me to fucking grow, right? And if I'm being in a victim mindset and I'm doing this, she's like, all right, you've had your downtime. That's fucking enough. And my ego wants to push back onto her. But she's like, I've booked you in this breath work. You're going to Egypt by yourself, like whatever the thing is. And she, because she's not insecure, she's like, jump on a plane, go out the fucking Himalayas and sing from the mountains. I'll book it in. I'll pay for it. I'll do whatever the fuck we have to do, because she cares for my growth. A lot of couples, I think, are so insecure that they actually don't want to see their partner grow.
I know.
They don't want them to do the work because it's scary to see they and especially like narcissistic behavior. Obviously, we've all got a narcissist inside of us, but you know, what awakens that is losing control. When their partner starts to grow in freedom, they got these new friends and this new environment, they start to lose weight and look good and feel good and dress nicer, and they're walking around more confident. The other partner feels like, who the fuck do you think you are? And they try and bash them down more because they're feeling still small. And I feel like that's a problem that couples a lot have. Like, I want Kirsty to be the best, look the best, feel the best. She wants me to be the best, feel the best, look the best. So
it's always about building your fuckiest confidence, as I always say. And like,
we're also a team, not a fucking. That's not exactly a fucking.
It's competition. It's not a competition, and I think that's half the problem. And you know, I love what you said before. Like, sometimes it is hard when you're partners and you're business owners, and we have kids on top of that. Trying to sometimes make it all work, you don't always get it right.
We don't always get it right.
And we definitely don't always get it right. And, you know, there's one thing that we've been starting to implement, and because I'm mainly the person who does all the real hard work behind the thing, Bo just like shows up and does this show and like is the guru and, you know, does the social media and stuff like that. I mean, we've got our parts, but
we do.
My thing is that I always found it hard. I would be hyper-focused, and I'll be sitting in full masculine energy. Now, I would like to change masculine to fierce, because I think it's fierce energy. I'm in boss bitch mode. Don't fuck with me. I'm getting my shit done. All right? That's what's happening. But then as soon as I finished my work, I'd come straight home. And I'm still in that energy. But I'm coming straight home because I feel guilty because I just had X amount of hours away from my child, my partner, and I'm trying to come home as a mum. But I'm still sitting in that energy and I'm coming home and Bo's like annoying me. Like he frustrates me. Like Harvey's too loud. Like, my nervous system's wired. And then Bo starts saying to me, all right, you're not to come home straight away. You finish and you have an hour by yourself. You go do a massage, you do breath work, you wind down.
Go to the beach, have a coconut, do whatever the fuck you need to do. Soften.
And I think I don't know your dynamic and all of that, but do you sometimes find it hard to leave work at work and then come home and be
switch off
the couple?
Oh, well,
we work from home.
We work from home.
Yeah, so same. But just
the lines are super blurred.
Yes.
And for me, I've been running my own business for a long time. And so I never, when I was navigating my own life and whatever, it didn't really matter. But obviously in our sort of dynamic, being blessed to work from home most of the time is awesome. But then again, you could be sitting on the couch, you could be sitting in bed, you could be sitting in any room and the work goes with you.
Yes.
And so, it's trying to make sure that you actually have a off time, on time.
Yeah.
It's a constant battle and it changes all the time. And I think I'm a bit more I think I've kind of trained myself to be okay with it. Yeah. But I know for Juliet, that is from a on-off time in
I turn my phone off.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah.
As soon as I turn my phone off,
of tools.
It's almost like an external reflection of my work. And I turn that off and then I do my stuff around the house and things like that, or go and see friends or whatever it is. But it's a constant balance. And I'm not saying that we get it always perfect, but we always come back to what's our intention? What's our connection? What are we trying to achieve? We're both really passionate about our work. So we love talking about it and it energizes us. One of my highest values is making a difference in the world. And so just talking about it lights me up. And the fact that I get to do it with my partner is so fun. But we definitely, I think that was I'd say about 3 or 4 years ago, we were maybe in a bit of a codependent, just doing way too much stuff together, working together. Now we've got our own separate hobbies and that helps as well.
I think that's very important.
Yeah. Because you got to miss each other. You got to miss each other.
I'm a big muso and I'll come to Kirsty with things and I'm like, look at this new band's got to. She's like, go call your mate.
Yes.
Okay, go call your friend. I don't care. And then, and then she'll come to me with business stuff. And I'm like, I don't care. And she's like, this is your business. I'm like, okay. Like that won't work for that. But,
He's like, tell your employee, you are part of it.
Yeah. I'm like, we do everything together. Like we're parents together, we're partners together, we live together.
We travel together.
Yeah. And, I feel like we do get a lot right, not everything right, and but the things you don't get right, you learn from.
Yeah.
But as you guys said before, like if you come across something, I think being different is also good.
Yeah.
Because we don't argue. Like we're pretty good at going, what do you think of this idea in the business? Yeah, let's do it. Or the other person will say, I don't think it's a good idea because X, Y, and Z. And I'll go, yeah, you're right. And we work together. But I think as a couple, it comes down to two main things. You have the same morals. So morally what you think is right or wrong aligns. And also the future, so your visions, where you're going.
Yeah, where you're going.
Because if one person's morals are like, well, I don't care about that. And you're like, well, my morals highly stand for that. Yeah. You're going to step on each other and it's going to really feel
There's
icky.
Going to be resentment and frustration.
There's going to be resentment and frustration. And then on the other side of that, your goals, you got to be going in the same fucking direction. Yeah. Otherwise, you know what I mean? And like we always we're like, yep, Dubai, USA, yep, this, yep, that. And like,
I feel like we go off the energies as like, sometimes we're like, yeah, cool, let's go have a few drinks. And then it's together, like we're always,
or
the energies are always aligned. Like, and then we're like, no drinking for months. Yeah. Like it's always aligned.
We're always keen to do the thing, but you got to push each other to grow. But, when we started Believe in Your Breath, I literally wanted to leave FIFO and do all this, and she was the one person who supported me through everything, loved me unconditionally, and she was like, I don't think it's a good idea. She was living in fear, and then I was like, no, I
had to rely on a man.
Her story is relying on a man didn't work for her back in the day, so she built herself up strong enough to be the mum, to be the dad, to be the income, made the money.
Then I had a baby, had to rely on a man, and my thing was like red flags going, I fucking knew you couldn't rely on a man. Here you're gonna be a single woman.
And I'm
again,
like, I want to quit FIFO, high paying job, and I want to teach people how to breathe. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Get back to work.
And he's like, I'm unhappy. And I said, I don't give a fuck if you're unhappy or not. I was unhappy.
There was a misunderstanding there. We were communicating, but we weren't understanding. She didn't understand me. I didn't understand her. I want to do bigger things. Then I did like this breath work with her and she was like, yep, you need to be in this space. This is the most craziest thing. The world needs to know about this. But then the thing that was the game changer for me in the direction of where we went was I seen other people, big people, like probably the biggest people in the game doing breath work, traveling the world doing workshops. And I'm like, I'm going to do an Australian tour. And Kirsty's like, with what money and how and where? And I said, I don't know. And we had Believe a Label. She was running ads. She's a queen at running ads. And I was like, just use your own. She's like, I only know how to do product-based, not service. I said, I don't care. Just click some buttons, put a video up of me doing breath work.
Because that's his idea of what marketing is.
Our first tour we ever did of Believe in Your Breath was 160 people, 170 people in Gold Coast. And I'm behind the like, I'm in imposter syndrome. I'm like, I've got like other breath workers attacking me, saying like, what are you doing these big ego shows for, blah, blah, blah. And all my other old friends think I'm crazy because I'm doing this breath work. And I felt like my partner didn't really know. So apart from all that, I kept going. I kept going. I got on stage. I fucking did my thing. And like we talk about growth, if I look back to my first session or my first show, I would cringe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did you say that? And why didn't you mention this? And it's like, that's what I was saying to my friend who did the hypnotherapy course with you guys. He did his first like hypno session with someone the other day and he's like, oh, I fucked up this. And I was like, good. The more you write those things down and that's growth for the next time, because the moment you get to a point in your business or your life where you're like, I perfected it. There's no fucking growth. There's no growth. And when you think that you're right and everyone else is wrong and you close your mind and close the chapter and close the book, the learning and the growth stops. And I'm like, now I open myself up to so much more failure and so much more wrong. Because I'm like, every podcast I do, every show I do, everything in our relationship, I'm like, what we don't get right, we can have a crack at again. Do you know what I mean? When you rode your bike for the first time, you had training wheels. It took you a long time. And that's what people need to realize, that just slow down and go through the mistakes and the difficulties and you will get there.
So I'm going to put you guys on the spot here.
Good.
Ooh.
But I want to ask, what is the number one thing that you guys love about each other?
Dun, 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 dun,
Are you
dun,
going
dun.
first?
You just started talking. I'll let you go first.
I only get to choose one.
You can choose a couple if you want.
No, one.
Okay, this would be really corny, but every single morning I wake up and I'm not a morning person. Like it takes me an hour to get into the world. I have the craziest dreams and all this stuff. I wake up every single morning and he's holding me and he's telling me how much he loves me, how beautiful I am, and how grateful he is to have me in his life every single morning. Like every morning.
I want to sleep over.
Sometimes I don't even consciously realize it's happening.
Yeah.
And then I'll wake up and I'll just be like, what life have I created where I have some like sometimes actually your love makes me love myself more.
Oh, that's so
Does
good.
that make sense?
Awesome.
Like
Yeah.
he
Of
loves
course it
me
does.
so
I feel like I'm gonna cry.
I know. That's what when you asked me,
Yeah.
I just thought like that was the hardest thing for me, was actually letting you in when we started, because I had, become divorced, dated a little bit, and then I was just like this, I'm an independent woman, I don't need any man, that kind of thing that we do when we're trying to heal.
Yeah.
And your love is just like time and time again shown up in ways that I could have never imagined. So thank you.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you. I think similar.
I am not. I'm not awake in the
not
morning.
like that. But Julia has allowed me to fully just be me, as zany and as weird as that is and whatever. Like, I feel like I can just step into that, trust that, and know that she loves me in that. And I don't have to pretend to be a certain person to get her love. I don't have to hide parts of myself or anything. It's freeing, it's opening, it's expanding, and like you guys talked about, wanting each other to step into that more and grow. Like I've never had that before. And I feel like our openness, our connection, our everything is like nothing I've ever experienced in anyone. And like, not only are you my best friend, like totally everything in our life is just built on each other and with each other. And I just love you so much. And I think wanting each other to grow and knowing that we're committed to growing as a team is magic. And I feel super safe to do that with you. I feel super open and I want to see you shine. And I know that you want that for me. And I've never felt that, like you guys said, without the hold back, without the don't shine like this, but not like that. Or you know what I mean?
we're such different people now than we were when we met as well. And that's been really cool.
Yes.
Like we are such different people.
We've changed so much.
Crazy, actually.
So much.
What about you guys? You have to turn the table
Yes.
now because that got very mushy.
Yeah, I love that though. That's so beautiful. And I think that's what makes, everything work with you guys. Your clients feel it. We feel it. Your business grows because of the love. And, we've always said love grows everything.
Yeah.
For me, I'll go first.
Okay, babe.
Kirsty's so understanding.
Yeah.
And like without the understanding, this relationship wouldn't have worked. I felt as a child growing up, no one understood me, especially with the ADHD, the anxiety, the naughty, the behavior, like my parents, doctors, other kids, teachers, no one understood me in my life. And I felt like I never really had unconditional love. I had attention, and that's what I associated love with, attention, whether it was naughty, whether it was eyes on me, whatever it was. So I feel like Kirsty actually sees me for who I am and sees potential in me. And then that makes me feel safe and feels like I can just take over the world. So I feel like it's really important to have that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I love that. Thank you. So I think for me, I don't think anyone has ever loved me on the same level that Bo has loved me. And I've always wanted to do big things. And I've got all the talent and I'm very, very good at what I do, but I would never have been on stage without his do it first and figure out the fucking shit later.
Dive in the deep end.
And believe you me, there was a lot of anxiety that came with that, but so much growth very, very quickly. And I think he allows me to truly, he supports me so much that he pushes me up. And any idea I've ever had, he's like, yeah, cool, let's do it. And the trust and the pushing and the constant growing, this business would not be where it is without both of us. And so it doesn't matter what parts we do, it would never have got to where it is. And I just think that there's so much love and understanding, and also just the way that you parent Harvey, I haven't had the best with, my other two baby daddies, and, Bo, the way that he is a dad, I just sit back and I also wanted that as a child, and so, he's an amazing dad, and he's definitely Harvey's hero, and it's beautiful to watch. And you're such a beautiful soul inside and out. And I think the thing is about you're so misunderstood, and that's why even when we were friends, I was like, "Do you actually know Bo, or do you just know social media Bo?" Because they're two very different people, And so I
agree, and I think a lot of couples just need to learn that it's okay to have a duality and a polarity in a relationship, because in business, I'm the fuck it, we're doing an event in Dubai next week. I don't know how. I'm gonna start calling
Kirsty,
people.
start doing the ads.
Yeah, and then Kirsty's like, all right, you've got the idea. All right, I'm gonna get the structure, like the ticketing, the logistics, the legal side of things. How do we do this? And I'm just like, I don't care for all of that. Like I would go to Dubai, jump on stage, do a thing, and she will make sure that everything logistically
and
works.
Legally.
And that's why I think in your relationship with business, you need the different polarities and dualities to make the one thing happen. Because if you're both big jumpers into the deep end, fucking nothing's ever going to work.
Yeah.
Unless you learn lessons. But
you both got to have, someone's got to be like, hey, we need to rein it in a little bit here, and the other person needs to be the wildcat.
Or we need to be like, it's too reined in. Let's fucking start really going. So you do need that push in both sides. Otherwise, you're just going in a straight line for so long.
Yeah.
That's it.
What I want to ask you guys is, if anyone wants to be in your world, if anyone wants to do NLP training, hypnotherapy, they want to become a hypnotherapist, they want to become NLP practitioner, certified.
How do they do it?
How do we do it? Like, you guys are the best in the biz.
Best in the world. And I just want to reiterate, you may have done hypnotherapy before, but you haven't done Paul's hypnotherapy.
That's right.
He is literally the best in the world. And so even if you think you're a hypnotherapist, you're not a hypnotherapist until you've done Paul's hypnotherapy.
Exactly.
100%.
So how do we get in touch? How do we do it?
We will share all the links with you. We actually, one of our highest values as well is connection. And so we really love having a connection course inquiry call to make sure it's the right fit.
Yep.
Some people, they actually maybe need to do some one-on-one work with one of our master coaches before they're ready for the training.
I like that.
It can
I
be a
really
big
do
jump.
like that.
So we do a bit of an assessment actually, and that also makes sure that everyone that's in our trainings has the best experience in the training, and that you have that
so
kind
healthy.
of community camaraderie.
Yeah.
And so it might be with myself or Paul, it might be with one of our master coaches, but it's about a 20-minute, half an hour chat where we'll just find out what your goals are, how you want to use the skills. We can talk to you about how it could actually work and if it is the right thing. And if it's not, maybe then what the best step is.
Yeah.
But then we look at, when the next training dates are, and we can work with you on payment plans and things like that. We like to be really accessible and affordable because we know that when people get to our trainings, they level up their self-worth massively, that even people who start off on payment plans end up paying things back and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah, so you guys can reach out to us on socials, either add me or Juliet or Evolve and Relaunch our pages.
And make sure you mention Believe in Your
Yeah.
Breath and Kirsty and Bo, and we will take care
you guys
of
up.
your community as well. But yeah,
What's your socials? Just drop them.
So
on.
at Paul Eliseo, Paul.Eliseo, is it?
No, it's
Check it
Paul
out, Paul
Eliseo,
Eliseo, yeah.
Paul
Eliseo.
Eliseo,
Yeah.
and Juliet Lever, and then Evolve and Relaunch is our business
Beautiful.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And we'll put it all in the show notes as
Everything
well,
will be in
so
the show notes.
everyone can get all
I want to thank you guys for your time and just personally, like my own growth, as I said earlier on.
I can see it. I can feel it.
Yeah, you
From
are a lot
when
more-
did we meet last time in Adelaide? Was that 6 months ago?
Yeah, it would have
Well, it
been.
was before the course.
Yeah,
You-
would have been just before the course. So yeah, about 6 months ago.
Yeah, you guys feel really
Yeah.
grounded.
A lot more in your bodies.
One-
One
Yes.
thing I really took away with working with you that I really looked up to. My problem is that I follow people and then I'm like, I have to be like them. Well, like I have to start dressing like them and going down their path.
Yeah.
And now I'm finding how to take inspiration but still staying authentic, which
Yeah.
was
Yes.
really difficult for me before working with you. And then I found like that you swore and that you dad jokes and you were funny. And it was literally like, you're not this professional guy that's like, okay, and write this. And it
Here's
was
your
just like, you were just yourself.
Yeah.
And you made me laugh so much. And you gave me permission to be myself.
Yes.
And I think a few things you said is like, I think in the course was, I could stand up here and be somebody else and you might not like me for that. So I'm going to be me. And then I found that by doing that, I've actually attracted my perfect clients.
Yes.
Yes.
Before I was trying to be someone I wasn't. And
then the anxiety comes
the
with that.
anxiety that I had by trying to impress people that I didn't like or didn't even want to work with created this big ball of anxiety. And then I just laid back into like who I am. I swear, I this and that. And if someone comes on and goes, I don't like your page, I've done breathwork before and they didn't swear like you. I'm like, well, then we're not for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And you're
I feel
okay
okay
now.
with that now. Before I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, they don't like me, the validation. I'm sorry, I won't swear at my next event. Come along. No, fuck that.
Yeah.
I would not
I'm going to
minimize
be
myself.
myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to show up. I'm going to be myself. And I just want to thank you guys for that. So that's
Well, it's
awesome.
beautiful
And I
to
really,
see.
For stepping into that. That's cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
And I really want to thank you guys for your time today. We're so stoked. We've got Hypnotherapy Advanced Masters.
Next month.
And we're
Can't
doing
wait.
that. We can't wait. We're staying in Perth for that.
Yes.
And I can't wait. And next time we're in Adelaide, let's do a part 2.
Yeah.
So,
Or next time we're in Bali.
Yes.
Yeah.
or
Fuck
if
yes.
you guys come to Bali, we can do a podcast.
Or you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll be all in Dubai together. Who
Yeah.
fucking
Oh, yeah,
knows?
maybe. Dubai. All right.
Love it. Awesome.
Well, wrapping up another episode of Spill the Tea. I want to thank you guys again for coming on and your time and the work you guys are doing. Absolutely amazing. Check these guys out. All the links will be in the show notes. And let's do it. We've got Adelaide this weekend, Limitless. I can't wait. 2 days. Do you want to say anything, Kirsty, on the close?
No, just that, you guys are amazing, absolutely changed our lives. And, we're so blessed to have, beautiful people like you guys in our life. And also that we can, all of our Weber success, people can go to you guys. And that's what this is all about. And anyone that's in business that really wants to actually be in this business to help people, this is what you want to be doing. It's all about collaboration. It's about networking. You get to the places faster by connecting to the right people. And I just want everybody to know that when you're in business, if you get into those rooms with the right people, you're going to get to your dream destination faster. There is no competition in this world. It's all about collaboration and love. And so just thank you so much for just being two beautiful people. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys too. It's amazing to watch your journey and thank you for sharing what you do with the world.